Ladies and gentlemen of the Action Army, what is going on? And welcome to another episode of Answers for Athletes. In today's video, I would like to talk with you about why Cal Dietz has lost his mind. Who is Cal Dietz? He is the author of the book Triphasic Training and Triphasic Training 2, which this book just recently came out and I'm currently reading it. And he is also the creator of the Triphasic Training method, which in a nutshell is just essentially where you spend a certain block or period of time focusing on the eccentric portion of your lifts, then the next block on the isometric portion of your lifts, and then the last block on the concentric portion of your lifts. But in this video, I really want to talk about his GOAT drill, which stands for greatest of all time. Why does he call it that? Because he claims that this one drill, this agility drill, this warm-up drill, this brain neuroplasticity drill, this drill will do everything for you, according to Cal Dietz. Bro, I'm trying to record a video. Drink your bottle, make your gains. He says that this drill will cook your steak for you exactly the way that you like it. Not really, but pretty much everything except that this drill is going to do for you. So this is the GOAT drill by Cal Dietz, and I actually tried it yesterday with one of my athletes who is a 6'8" high school sophomore basketball player who is built like a baby gazelle, a very large baby gazelle, but he's coming into his body, and I will put him doing this drill on the screen here soon, and I'll also give you an example, and I'll put Cal Dietz athletes doing it as well. So let me just explain this drill. This drill, you take 2 hula hoops. Now, obviously, he says that you don't need hula hoops. You can use cones, and I will say that if you train at like a Planet Fitness or a Crunch Fitness or an LA Fitness or a commercial gym, probably you're not going to do this because they may just kick you out. They may send you to the psych ward. You may lose your membership. So if you're going to do this at a commercial gym, by all means, do it at your own expense. But picture this. You have 2 hula hoops on the ground, and your athlete, or you, if you are the athlete, is running a figure 8 around these 2 hula hoops. Not only is he running a figure 8 around these 2 hula hoops, but as he does that, he is passing a tennis ball behind his back around his waist. So now you are running a figure 8 around these hula hoops as you are passing a tennis ball behind your back around your waist. Not only are you doing that, but you focus on a certain point on a wall or on the floor, or you set up an object and you stare at that object the entire time. So now you're focused in on this one object as you are doing a figure 8. So obviously you all right, brother? Don't be hitting your head on stuff. You need that. But if you do the GOAT drill, it can cure concussions and help you come back from a concussion. So, you're doing a figure 8, wrapping a tennis ball, staring at a point. Not only are you doing those 3, but you are counting backwards from 100 all the way down to 0 by 3s. So figure 8, wrap the tennis ball. And yes, I did this yesterday with my athlete. And you're going 100, 97, 94. And you might get stuck up because you're doing all these variables at once. So you might be like 94, 91, 88. Like it really focuses, or you really have to focus on your counting as you're doing all of these other external factors. And that is the basic version. That's not even the advanced version, which I'll talk about the advanced version here soon. Now, I'm not really, like, I sound like I'm making a joke of this. I'm not making a joke of this. Like, I may add this to my training I just did yesterday. I'm going to play around with this and see what it does for my athletes. But the GOAT drill, so you've got a figure 8 tennis ball, you're staring at a single point, you're counting backwards from 100 by 3s, or like yesterday, we counted backwards by 2s just to make it a little bit easier because he was having a little bit of trouble with 3s. So I said go by 2, so 100, 98, 96, 94, etc. And we went down to 50. So why? Like, what's the point of doing this drill? He says that, number 1, it is great for proprioception. Obviously, like if you're staring at a single point, you have to understand where your body is in space in relation to the hula hoops or the cones. And in advanced version, there's hurdles as well that you have to step over, which is kind of nuts. but it's going to improve your vestibular system. When you are staring at a certain point on the wall, he says it is similar to in soccer, you're staring at the soccer ball as you're moving your body, or in basketball, you're staring at the basketball, you're watching the basketball as, your defender's trying to cut back door and you're trying to take all this information in at once. He says it's just extremely good for your brain, and this is a great warm-up and a great drill to do to improve your brain. And he says that the best athletes in the world have the best brains, right? What makes the most advanced athletes superior in their sport? Their brains. I don't know. Look at Gronkowski. We don't know. So the goal is to engage the athlete's brains in a way that will transfer to their sport. Let's see, proprioception, vestibular system, advanced core stabilization drill, similar to sports, soccer ball, basketball. We talked about all that. So it's essentially a brain warm-up, which when you think about it, when you do your training sessions, you don't really engage the brain that much, right? If you do the same thing all the time, especially like when we think about vertical jump training, you got your rear foot elevated, you got your plyos. Like in sport, you use your brain a ton, but in training, you really don't. You don't have to think that much, which some of us like. But this just gives a way for you to push your brain and improve your neuroplasticity while you are doing your training, at least at the beginning. And he claims that by doing this at the beginning of a workout, all of the rest of your training will be improved because you woke up your right and left brain. So once again, try this for yourself. If you have athletes, try this for your athletes. I'm going to try this with my athletes. So let me say why I think this is a great thing to do. Why I like this goat drill already. And so very quickly, when I first read Triphasic Training 1, it completely blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, Triphasic Training is the best thing since sliced bread. Everything has to be Triphasic Training. As I've trained for multiple years, like this came out a decade ago. I think I might have read this, I don't know, like 5 years ago. But I like to learn every day. I like to develop myself. So as I've developed myself, I understand as a coach and a trainer that Triphasic Training is not everything. It is just a way to do things. There's plenty of different ways to do things. So everything in this book is good, but it's not it's just one system. This is just one system or one method of training. But I do like a ton of stuff that he says in here. So I don't want you to think that I'm some crazy Cal Dietz super fan. I'm really not. I used to be, but as I've grown, I'm like, there's other ways to do things. So I like Cal Dietz, but I'm not married to these principles. I'm not married to the goat drill. I just do think that it does seem like something good to do, because if we think about it, when it comes to brain neuroplasticity and when it comes to getting better at your sport, getting more athletic, getting more skilled, you have to be pushing outside of your comfort zone, which this goat drill definitely will do. He said that you will know you're doing the goat drill correctly when, number one, the athlete improves their training and game speed, or number two, they report this drill is frustrating. So you're supposed to try to push outside of your comfort zone, push your limits, which, as we all know, is the only way to grow. How do we grow in the weight room? We call that progressive overload. How do we grow at skills in our sports? We call that deliberate practice. Bro, what do you have to say? Drink your milk. Come on, brother. Drink your protein shake, make your gains. So I do like that. I like the brain plasticity part. I like that you have to push outside of your comfort zone. As far as all these claims, there's a lot of trainers that make a lot of claims out there. Doing this, you can, I could say, yeah, I had us blink one eye and then switch blinking, and I found that just based off, the one eye at a time and the vestibular system and just where you are in space, that made everything afterwards be better. You can literally say any shit as a trainer. So you have to try this for yourself, which I am currently trying it for myself. But it does make sense when you think about it, and it doesn't take that much time. That's the thing. If this took a ton of time, I probably wouldn't do it. But 5 minutes in an hour training session yesterday, I might have spent 5 minutes on this, and then we moved on. So Just a couple other things that I want to say about this goat drill. Oh, I do want to talk about how you can make this harder, because if you thought that was crazy, if you thought running around hula hoops in a figure eight or cones in a figure eight while passing a tennis ball around your waist, while staring at a single point on the wall, while counting backwards from 100 to 0 by threes or twos, if you thought that was crazy, he says you can make it harder by adding 3 hoops instead of 2. Add hurdles instead of just one object on a wall. He said you can have a swinging object on a wall or a moving object. You can have a partner chasing you or trailing. You could do it at faster speeds, so run the figure eight as fast as you can. You can use a sport-specific ball, so instead of a tennis ball, use a football or a basketball. You could do harder math, like counting backwards by sevens. Bro, I can't even do that normally. External load. So you can attach a band to the player so that the band is pulling them. Well, multiple bands tied together. Or a PGF band, because that's longer. You could do that as they're running around the figure eight. You can block their vision you can stand inside the hula hoop, and as they're running, trying to stare at the wall, you try to block their vision. This is really some mad scientist type shit. And he does say that, because this is one thing that I was having trouble with. You don't have to stare at that point on the wall at all times, right? If you have, especially if you have 3 hula hoops, you are allowed to, as you go this way and you turn your back to it, you can swivel your head. You could do a hip swivel and a head swivel, and then you're supposed to find that object on the wall again as fast as possible. So you can turn your head. You don't have to your eyes just be completely glued to it. So yeah, this is definitely some mad scientist shit, but Cal Dietz does seem like a mad scientist. He claims that this is, at the University of Minnesota, this is creating freak athletes. I guess you and I might have to go and see, where's your championships, brother? Where's all your championships? If y'all are the GOATs, if this GOAT drill is so crazy, where's your championships? I don't really know. If they might have, maybe they win all the shit that they're doing. The brain is free to do higher level thought. This is what I did want to say. So you're already doing this, right? You're already, when you play basketball or you train for basketball or you're doing skills training, you're already doing versions of this. This puts it on steroids, right? This definitely throws a ton of variables in. It's the backwards counting, I believe, is the key thing. You really have to think. That 6'8" player, just after this, I had him do dribble between his legs, which I will put on screen as well. And then I had him stare at an object on a wall and count backwards from 100, just dribbling between his legs. So I do think that the brain aspect of this training, improving the neuroplasticity and in the myelin, in the skill circuits, that is going to be probably the best part of this. But you already do some level of this when you're playing basketball. And for example, when I look at my basketball players for the high school team that I coach, there are players with good ball handling skills, like some of the varsity players, like our point guard on varsity. He doesn't have to spend any different time worrying about losing his handle because he has a great handle. So subconsciously, he's handling the ball like this, as he is reading the defense and seeing the whole floor and telling you hey, and he's calling out plays and hey, go to the corner. He's telling his teammates what to do. He's doing a whole bunch of shit. He doesn't have to think about handling the ball. But when it comes to some of the JV players and they get the ball and they don't have a great handle, they're looking down at the ball. They're trying not to lose it. They want to hurry up and pick up their dribble and pass it so they don't have to dribble anymore. This drill effectively teaches you how to really make it at a subconscious level and do a bunch of different things as you are focusing on that one thing, which is counting backwards by threes or fucking sevens. Holy shit, bro. Who's counting backwards by sevens? And then this is the last thing that I'm going to say. I'm pretty much done here. Oh, there's one more thing that I want to say. As far as me integrating this in my warm-ups, do I do any other warm-ups? Is this the only warm-up that I'm going to do, etc.? But last quote from Cal Dietz: the GOAT drill will raise your ceiling to get faster, play your sport better, and train the interactions of the vestibular system, the spine, and the visual system to all work together better. So that is essentially the hope of what this goat drill is going to do. And then last thing that I want to say is that the normal warm-ups that I do are plyometric sequences, like a bunch of different, like we're jumping over a hurdle, then onto a box. Like that's what I do a lot. I like to do low rim dunk sessions just because they're fun and they warm my athletes up well. Competitive small side games are something that I do. And then I do an athlete choice as a warm up where you have 5 minutes to just do whatever warm up you're going to do. And then we're going to get into the session. And if I think you need more of a warm up, we'll do it. So I will be adding this goat drill 100% to my one-on-one or my group training sessions. I'm probably not going to add it with my high school team because it's a little bit tougher when you have 25 players on a team. I will be adding it with myself in my own training. So maybe you'll see this on the Road to 43. I will probably not be adding this into my programs, like Beyond the Rim Secret System, Beyond the Rim 2, stuff like that. And if I do add this to those, then, and I have to try this more. Like I really have to, I did it for one day. I have to really dive into this. But if I did add it to those programs, I would make it optional because like some people just don't have the space or the means, or like you look really weird, bro. If you're doing this in the middle of LA Fitness, people are going to say, what in the world is that bozo doing? But maybe that's a good thing because we want to be different. But yeah, that's all I have to say. The GOAT drill. Is it the GOAT drill? Will you become the greatest of all time by just doing this drill? You might. Anyways, like this video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your question down below if you want me to answer your question in a video just like this. Just making sure I'm recording because if I wasn't, I would have to cry. And there's a link down below in the pinned comment and the description of this video with access to my advanced training programs. If you would like me to set up all of your programming for you, your sets, your reps, your exercises, your phases, your progressions, all of that so that you can jump as high as possible and become an athletic freak, then click that link and check out my advanced training programs or my vertical jump customized coaching. But I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.